Beauty and the Beast, 2017 film. Beauty and the Beast is a 2017 American musical romantic fantasy film directed by Bill Condon from a screenplay written by Stephen Chbosky and Evan Spiliotopoulos, and co-produced by Walt Disney Pictures and Mandeville Films. The film is based on Disney's 1991 animated film of the same name, itself an adaptation of Jeanne-Marie Leprince de Beaumont's 18th-century fairy tale. The film features an ensemble cast that includes Emma Watson and Dan Stevens as the titular characters, with Luke Evans, Kevin Kline, Josh Gad, Ewan McGregor, Stanley Tucci, Audra McDonald, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Nathan Mack, Ian McKellen and Emma Thompson in supporting roles. Principal photography began at Shepperton Studios in Surrey, England on May 18, 2015, and ended on August 21. Beauty and the Beast premiered on February 23, 2017, at Spencer House in London, and was released in the United States on March 17, 2017, in standard Disney Digital 3D, Real 3D, IMAX and IMAX 3D formats along with Dolby Cinema. The film received positive reviews from critics and audiences, with many praising Watson and Stevens' performances as well the ensemble cast, visual style, and production merits, though it received some criticism on the effects, especially those surrounding the Beast, and the multitude of similarities to the original. The film has grossed over $1.2 billion worldwide, surpassing the original film, and making it the highest-grossing film of 2017 and the 10th highest-grossing film of all time. Plot. In pre-revolution era France, an enchantress disguised as a beggar arrives at a ball, and offers the host, a cold-hearted prince, a rose for shelter. When he refuses, she transforms him into a monstrous beast and his servants into household objects, and turns the castle into a dark version of its former form, and erases the castle from the memories of the loved ones. She casts a spell on the rose, and warns the prince that, unless he learns to love another, and earn the love in return before the last petal falls, he and his servants will lose their humanity forever. Years later, in the village of Villeneuve, Belle dreams of adventure and brushes off advances from Gaston, an arrogant former soldier. Lost in the forest, Belle's father Maurice seeks refuge in the Beast's castle, but the Beast imprisons him for stealing a rose. Belle ventures out in search for him, and finds him locked in the castle dungeon. The Beast agrees to let her take Maurice's place, despite her father's objections. Belle befriends the castle's servants, who treat her to a spectacular dinner. When she wanders into the forbidden West Wing and finds the rose, the Beast, enraged, scares her into the woods. She is cornered by a pack of wolves, but the Beast rescues her and is injured in the process. A friendship develops as Belle nurses his wounds. The Beast shows Belle a gift from the Enchantress, a book that transports readers wherever they want. Belle uses it to visit her childhood home in Paris, where she discovers a plague doctor mask. Belle realizes that she and her father were forced to leave her mother's deathbed as her mother succumbed to the plague. In Villeneuve, Gaston sees rescuing Belle as an opportunity to win her hand in marriage, and agrees to help Maurice. When Maurice learns of his ulterior motive and rejects him, Gaston abandons him to the wolves. Maurice is rescued by a hermit, Agathe, but when he tells the townsfolk of Gaston's crime, Gaston convinces them to send him to an insane asylum. After sharing a romantic dance with the Beast, Belle discovers her father's predicament using a magic mirror. The Beast releases her to save Maurice, giving her the mirror to remember him with. At Villeneuve, Belle proves Maurice's sanity by revealing the Beast in the mirror to the townsfolk. Realizing that Belle loves the Beast, Gaston has her thrown into the asylum carriage. with her father, and rallies the villagers to follow him to the castle to kill the beast. Maurice and Belle escape, and Belle rushes back to the castle. During the battle, Gaston abandons his companion LeFou, who sides with the servants to fend off the villagers. Gaston attacks the beast in his tower, who is too depressed to fight back, but regains his will upon seeing Belle return. He spares Gaston's life before reuniting with Belle. However, Gaston fatally shoots the beast from a bridge, but it collapses when the castle crumbles, and he falls to his death. The beast dies as the last petal falls, and the servants become inanimate. When Belle tearfully professes her love to him, Agathe reveals herself as the enchantress and undoes the curse, repairing the crumbling castle, and restoring the beasts and servants' human forms and the villagers' memories. The prince and Belle host a ball for the kingdom, where they dance happily. Development. Previously, Disney had begun work on a film adaptation of the 1994 Broadway musical. However, in a 2011 interview, composer Alan Menken stated the planned film version of The Beauty and the Beast stage musical was canned. By April 2014, Walt Disney Pictures had already begun developing a new live-action version and remake of Beauty and the Beast after making other live-action fantasy films such as Alice in Wonderland, Maleficent, Cinderella and The Jungle Book. In June 2014, Bill Condon was signed to direct the film from a script by Evan Spiliotopoulos. Later in September of the same year, The Perks of Being a Wallflower was hired to rewrite the script. Before Condon was hired to direct the film, Disney approached him with a proposal to remake the film in a more radical way, as Universal Studios had remade Snow White and the Huntsman. Condon later explained that, after Frozen opened, the studio saw that there was this big international audience for an old-school musical approach. But initially, they said, "We're interested in a musical to a degree, but only half full of songs. My interest was taking that film and doing it in this new medium, live action, as a full-on musical movie. So I backed out for a minute, and they came back and said, no, we get it. Let's pursue it that way." Walt Disney Pictures president of production Sean Bailey credited Walt Disney Studios chairman Alan F. Horn with the decision to make the film as a musical. "We worked on this for 5 or 6 years, and for 18 months to 2 years. Beauty was a serious dramatic project, and the scripts were written to reflect that. It wasn't a musical at the time, but we just couldn't get it to click." And it was Alan Horn who championed the idea of owning the Disney of it all. "We realized there was a competitive advantage in the songs. What is wrong with making adults feel like kids again?" Casting. In January 2015, Emma Watson announced that she would be starring as Belle, the female lead. Watson was the first choice of Walt Disney Studios chairman Alan F. Horn, as he had previously overseen Warner Brothers, which released the 8 Harry Potter films that co-starred Watson as Hermione Granger. 2 months later, in March, Luke Evans and Dan Stevens were revealed to be in talks to play Gaston and the Beast respectively, and Watson confirmed their casting the following day through tweets. The rest of the principal cast, Josh Gad, Emma Thompson, Kevin Kline, Audra McDonald, Ian McKellen, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Ewan McGregor, and Stanley Tucci, were announced between March and April of the same year to play LeFou, Mrs. Potts, Morris, Madame de Garderobe, Cogsworth, Plumette, Lumiere and Cadenza, respectively. Susan Egan, who originated the role of Belle on Broadway, commented on the casting of Watson as perfect. Paige O'Hara, who voiced Belle in the original animated film and its sequels, offered to help Watson with her singing lessons. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Emma Watson was reportedly paid $3 million up front. Together, with an agreement that her final take-home pay could rise as high as $15 million if the film generated gross box office income similar to Maleficent's $759 million worldwide gross. Filming. Principal photography on the film began at Shepperton Studios in Surrey, England, on May 18, 2015. Filming with the principal actors concluded on August 21. 6 days later, co-producer Jack Morrissey confirmed that the film had officially wrapped production. The Beast was portrayed with a more traditional motion capture puppeteering for the body and the physical orientation, where actor Dan Stevens was in a 40-pound grey suit on stilts for much of the film. The facial capture for the Beast was done separately in order to communicate the subtleties of the human face and capture the thought that occurs to him, which gets through to the eyes, which are the last human element in the Beast. The castle servants, who are transformed into household objects, were created with CGI animation. Music. When released in 1991, Beauty and the Beast marked a turning point for Walt Disney Pictures by appealing to millions of fans with its Oscar-winning musical score by lyricist Howard Ashman and composer Alan Menken. In Bill Condon's opinion, that original score was the key reason he agreed to direct a live-action version of the movie. That score had more to reveal, he says. You look at the songs, and there's not a clunker in the group. In fact, Frank Rich described it as the best Broadway musical of 1991. The animated version was already darker and more modern than the previous Disney fairy tales. Take that vision, put it into a new medium, make it a radical reinvention, something not just for the stage, because it's not just being literal. Now other elements come into play. It's not just having real actors do it. Condon initially prepared on only drawing inspiration from the original film, but he also planned to include most of the songs composed by Alan Menken, Howard Ashman, and Tim Rice from the Broadway musical, with the intention of making the film as a straightforward, live-action, large-budget movie musical. Menken returned to score the film's music, which features songs from the original film by him and Howard Ashman, plus new material written by Menken and Tim Rice. Menken said the film will not include songs that were written for the Broadway musical and instead created 4 new songs. However, an instrumental version of the song, Home, which was written for the musical, is used during the scene where Belle first enters her room in the castle. On January 19, 2017, it was confirmed by both Disney and Celine Dion, singer of the original 1991 Beauty and the Beast duet song with singer Peabo Bryson, that Dion would be performing one of the new original songs, How Does a Moment Last Forever, to play over the end titles. She originally had doubts about whether or not to record the song due to the recent death of her husband and manager René Angelo, who had previously helped her secure the 1991 pop duet. While ultimately accepting the opportunity, she said, "The first Beauty and the Beast decision was made with my husband. Now I'm making decisions on my own. It's a little bit harder. I couldn't say yes right away, because I felt like I was kind of cheating in a way." 18 She eventually felt compelled to record the song, because of the impact Beauty and the Beast has had on her career. According to her, "I was at the beginning of my career. It put me on the map. It put me where I am today." 9 Also, Josh Groban was announced to be performing the new original song, Evermore, on January 26, 2017. The 2017 film features a remake of the 1991 original song Beauty and the Beast, recorded as a duet by Ariana Grande and John Legend. Grande and Legend's updated version of the Beauty and the Beast title song is faithful to the original, Grammy-winning duet, performed by Celine Dion and Peabo Bryson for the 1991 Disney classic. Emma Thompson also performed a rendition of Beauty and the Beast, which was performed by Angela Lansbury in the original 1991 animated film release. Disney debuted the music video for Ariana Grande and John Legend's interpretation of the new Beauty and the Beast song on Disney's Freeform television network on March 5, 2017, and it has since attained over 90 million video views on the Vevo video hosting service. Release on March 16, 2015, Disney announced the film would be released in 3D on March 17, 2017. The first official presentation of the film took place at Disney's 3-day D23 Expo in August 2015. The world premiere of Beauty and the Beast took place on February 23, 2017, at Spencer House in London, England, and the film later premiered at the El Capitan Theatre in Hollywood, California, on March 2, 2017. The stream was broadcast onto YouTube. A sing-along version of the film released in over 1,200 U.S. theaters nationwide on April 7, 2017. The United Kingdom received the same version on April 21, 2017. Marketing. Disney spent around $140 million for marketing the film worldwide, following an announcement on May 22, 2016. Disney premiered the first official teaser trailer on Good Morning America the next day. In its first 24 hours, the teaser trailer reached 91.8 million views, which topped the number of views seen in that amount of time in history, including for the teasers for other films distributed by Disney such as Avengers: Age of Ultron, Star Wars: The Force Awakens and Captain America: Civil War. The first official teaser poster was released on July 7, 2016. On November 2, 2016, Entertainment Weekly debuted the first official image on the cover of their magazine for the week along with 9 new photos as well. 1 week later, Emma Watson and Disney debuted a new poster for the film. On November 14, 2016, the first theatrical trailer was released again on Good Morning America. The trailer reached 127.6 million views in its first 24 hours, setting a new record as the trailer with the most views in one day, beating out 50 Shades Darker. This record has since been broken again by The Fate of the Furious. A TV spot with Watson singing was shown during the 74th Golden Globe Awards. Disney released the final trailer on January 30, 2017. Box office. Second highest grossing film ever, behind only the final Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2. Beauty and the Beast has grossed $502.9 million in the United States and Canada, and $745 million in other territories for a worldwide gross of $1.248 billion. With a production budget of $160 million, it is the second most expensive musical ever made. Only Hello, Dolly, with a budget of $25 million, cost more. In just 10 days, it became the highest-grossing live-action musical of all time, beating the 9-year-old record held by Mamma Mia. It is currently the second biggest musical ever overall, behind Disney's Frozen. Worldwide, the film proved to be a global phenomenon, earning a total of $357 million over its 4-day opening weekend from 56 markets. Critics said the film was playing like superhero movies amongst women. It was the second biggest March global opening, behind only Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the 13th biggest worldwide opening ever and the 7th biggest for Disney. This includes $21 million from IMAX plays on 1026 screens, a new record for an IMAX PG title. It surpassed the entire lifetime total of the original film in just 6 days. Beauty and the Beast is the 300th digitally remastered release in IMAX company's history, which began with the re-release of Apollo 13 in 2002. Its robust global debut helped push the company past $6 billion for the first time, and led to analysts believing that the film has a shot of passing $1 billion worldwide from theatrical earnings. On April 12, it finally passed the $1 billion threshold, becoming the first film of 2017, the 14th Disney film, and the 29th film overall to pass the mark. It became the first film since Rogue One in December 2016 to make over $1 billion, and did so on its 29th day of release. It is currently the highest-grossing film of 2017, the highest-grossing March release, the highest-grossing remake of all time, and the fifth biggest Disney film. Even after inflation adjusted, it is still ahead of the $425 million gross of the original film. North America. In the United States and Canada, Beauty and the Beast topped Fandango's pre-sales, and became the fastest-selling family film in the company's history, topping the studio's own animated film The Hunger Games. An estimated 41% of the gross came from IMAX, 3D and premium large-format screenings which began at 6 p.m., while the rest 59% came from regular 2D shows which began at 7 p.m. The numbers were considered more impressive given that the film played during a school week. On its opening day, the film made $63.8 million from 4,210 theaters from across 9,200 screens, marking the third biggest in the month of March, trailing behind Batman v Superman and The Hunger Games. It was also the biggest opening day ever for a film that wasn't PG-13, displacing the $58 million opening Wednesday of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Its opening day alone almost matched the entire opening weekend of previous Disney live-action films, Maleficent and Cinderella. Unlike all previous 4 Disney live-action films witnessing a hike on their second day, Saturday, Beauty and the Beast actually fell 2%, but nevertheless, the dip was paltry, and the grosses are so much bigger compared to the other titles, earning a total of $174.8 million on its opening weekend. It defied all expectations, and went on to set numerous notable records. This includes the biggest opening of the year as well as the biggest for the month of March, and pre-summer, spring opening, beating Batman v Superman, the biggest start ever for a PG title, surpassing Finding Dory, the biggest debut of all time for a female-fueled film, ahead of The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, the biggest for a Disney live-action adaptation, ahead of Alice in Wonderland and the biggest musical debut ever, supplanting Pitch Perfect 2. Furthermore, it is also Watson's highest opening of all time, beating Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2. Same with Emma Thompson, director Bill Condon's biggest debut ever, ahead of The Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn, Part 2, and the biggest outside of summer, save for Star Wars, The Force Awakens, not accounting for inflation. It became the 43rd film to debut with over $100 million, and the 15th film to open above $150 million. Its 3-day opening alone surpassed the entire original North American run of the first film, instantly becoming the second biggest film of the year, behind Logan, and also the second highest grossing musical, behind Grease's $188 million cumulative gross in 1978. 70% of the total ticket sales came from 2D showings, signifying that people who don't go to theaters frequently came out in bulk to watch the film. About 26% of the remaining tickets were for 3D. IMAX accounted for 7% of the total weekend's gross, setting a new record for a PG title, ahead of Alice in Wonderland, while PLF repped 11% of the box office. 70% of the film's opening day demographic was female, dropping to 60% through the weekend. According to polling service PostTrack, about 84% of American parents who saw the film on its opening day said they would definitely recommend it for families. The film's opening was credited to positive word of mouth from audiences, good reviews from critics, effective marketing which sold the title not just as a family film, but also as a romantic drama, the cast star power, lack of competition, being the first family film since the Lego Batman movie a month earlier, nostalgia, and the success and ubiquity of the first film and Disney's brand. On Monday, its fourth day of release, the film fell precipitously by 72%, earning $13.5 million. The steep fall was due to a limited marketplace where only 11% K-12 and 15% colleges were off per ComScore. Nevertheless, it is the second biggest March Monday, behind Batman v Superman. This was followed by the biggest March and pre-summer Tuesday, with $17.8 million, a plus 32% increase from its previous day. The same day, the film passed $200 million in ticket sales. It earned $228.6 million in the first week of release, the sixth biggest seven-day gross of all time. In its second weekend, the film continued to maintain the top positioning and fell gradually by 48%, earning another $90.4 million to register the fourth biggest second weekend of all time, and the third biggest for Disney. In terms of percentage drop, its 48% decline is the third smallest drop for any film opening above $125 million. The hold was notable considering how the film was able to fend off three new wide-release Power Rangers, Life, and Chips. As a result, it passed the $300 million threshold, becoming the first film of 2017 that passed said mark. The film grossed $45.4 million in its third weekend, finally being overtaken for the top spot by newcomer The Boss Baby. On April 4, 2017, its 19th day of release, it passed the $400 million threshold, becoming the first film of 2017 to do so. By its fourth weekend, the film was playing in 3,969 cinemas, a fall of 241 theaters from its previous weekend. Of those, approximately 1,200 cinemas were sing-along versions. It earned $26.3 million and retained second place. By comparison, previous Disney films Moana and Frozen both witnessed mild percentage declines the weekend their sing-alone versions were released. Its seventh weekend of release was in contemporaneous with another Emma Watson starring new film The Circle. That weekend, The Circle was number 4, while Beauty and the Beast was at number 6. By May 28, the film had earned over $500 million in ticket sales, becoming the first film of 2017, the third female-fueled film, and the eighth overall film in cinematic history to pass the mark. It has already become the biggest ever March release, dethroning The Hunger Games, the biggest musical film, as well as the biggest film of 2017. Outside North America. Internationally, the film began playing on Thursday, March 16, 2017, through Sunday, March 19. It had a total international opening of $182.3 million from 55 markets, 44 of which were major territories, far exceeding initial estimations of $100 million, and opened at number 1 in virtually all markets save Vietnam, Turkey, and India. Its launch is the second biggest for the month of March, behind Batman v Superman. In IMAX, it recorded the biggest debut for a PG title with $8.5 million from 649 screens. The second biggest for a PG title behind The Jungle Book. In its second weekend, it fell just by 35%, earning another $120.6 million and maintaining its first position hold. It added major markets like France and Australia. It topped the international box office for 3 consecutive weekends before finally being dethroned by Ghost in the Shell and The Boss Baby in its 4th weekend. Despite the fall, the film helped Disney push past the $1 billion threshold internationally. For the first time in 2017, it scored the biggest opening day of the year in Hong Kong and the Philippines, the biggest March Thursday in Italy, the biggest March opening day in Austria, and the second biggest in Germany. Disney's biggest March in Denmark, the biggest Disney live-action debut in China, the UK, Mexico, and Brazil, and the third biggest in South Korea with $1.2 million. Behind only Pirates of the Caribbean, At World's End and Les Miserables. The number 1 opening of 2017 to date and the 5th biggest ever overall, with £19.7 million from 639 theaters and almost twice that of The Jungle Book. This included the second biggest Saturday ever, only behind Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It witnessed a decent decline in its second weekend, earning £12.33 million. Though the film was falling at a faster rate than The Jungle Book, it had already surpassed the said film in its sophomore weekend as the 3rd biggest ever. And Spectre. In India, despite facing heavy competitions from 4 new Hindi releases, 2 Tamil films and a Malayalam and a Punjabi release, the film managed to take an occupancy of 15% on its opening day. An impressive feat despite such tremendous competitions. It earned around net on its opening day from an estimated 600 screens, which is more than the 3 Hindi releases, Machine, Trapped and Our Gaya Hero, combined. Disney reported a total of gross for its opening weekend there. It was ahead of all new releases, and second overall behind Bollywood film Badrinath Ki Dulhania. In Russia, despite receiving a restrictive 16 rating, the film managed to deliver a very successful opening, with $6 million. In China, expectations were high for the film. The release date was announced on January 24, giving Disney and local distributor China Film Group Corporation ample time, around 2 months, to market the film nationwide. The release date was strategically chosen to coincide with White Day. Preliminary reports suggested that it could open to $40-60 million in its opening weekend. Largely driven by young women, its opening day pre-sales outpaced that of The Jungle Book. The original film was, however, never widely popular in the country, although China has occasionally blocked gay-themed content from streaming video services. In this case, Chinese censors decided to leave the gay scene intact. According to local box office tracker Ent Group, the film grossed an estimated $12.1 million on its opening day, representing 70% of the total receipts, including previews. It made a total of $14.5 million from 100,000 screenings, which is 43% of all screenings in the country. It climbed to $18.5 million on Saturday, for a 3-day total of $42.6 million, securing 60% of the total marketplace. Disney, on the other hand, reported a different figure of $44.8 million. Either ways, it recorded the second biggest opening for a Disney live-action film, with $3.4 million coming from 386 IMAX screens. Japan, a huge Disney market, served as the film's final market, and opened there on April 21. It debuted with a better-than-expected $12.5 million on its opening weekend, helping the film push past the $1.1 billion threshold. An estimated $1.1 million came from IMAX screenings, the fourth biggest ever in the country. The two-day gross was $9.7 million, outstripping Frozen's previous record of $9.5 million. Due to positive reviews, good word of mouth, and benefiting from the Golden Week, the film saw a 9% increase on its second weekend. The hold was strong enough to fend off newcomer The Fate of the Furious from securing the top spot. The total there is now over $98 million after 7 weekends, and is the biggest film release of the year and overall the 11th biggest of all time. It topped the box office there for 8 consecutive weekends. The only markets where the film did not top the weekend charts were Vietnam, Turkey and India. It topped the box office for 4 straight weekends in Germany, Korea, Austria, Finland, Poland, Portugal, Brazil, Venezuela, Bolivia, Switzerland and the UK. In the Philippines, it emerged as the most commercial successful film of all time, both local and foreign, with over $13.5 million. In just 5 weeks, the film became one of the top 10 highest-grossing film of all time in the United Kingdom and Ireland, ahead of all but one Harry Potter film, and all 3 The Lord of the Rings movies. It is currently the 8th biggest grosser, with £70.1 million, overtaking Mamma Mia, to become the biggest musical production ever there. The biggest international earning markets following the UK are Japan, China, Brazil, Korea, and Australia. In Europe alone, the cumulative total is $267 million to become the second highest grossing film in the past 1 year. The cumulative total is $267 million to become the second highest grossing film in the past 1 year. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.